The 2011 Uwezo Kenya National Assessment was carried out in February and March 2011. The school and household-based assessment was done in 124 districts where a total 134,000 children aged between 6 and 16 years were assessed in basic English, Kiswahili and mathematics, which are foundational for learning in all the other subjects derived from Class 2 level work.
Jumatatu hadi mimi ninapumzika Jumamosi.
7,000 volunteers carried out the assessment, reaching out the most remote villages in the country. In total, 72,000 households in over 3,600 villages were surveyed and 3,574 schools visited. Though the findings show a slight improvement in all areas from the results of 2010, this year's report highlights various aspects on schooling and learning in Kenya. The results of the assessment indicate that only 3 out of 10 children in Class 3 can do Class 2 work, while half of Class 4 children cannot read a Class 2 English story. Worse still, 9 out of 100 children in Class 8 cannot do Class 2 mathematics. Arid and semi-arid areas still lag behind in education despite all the efforts that have been made to improve the education in these areas. The number of children who are out of school in the northern Kenya is more than 4 times the national average. In some counties like Garissa, Turkana and Samburu, nearly 4 out of 10 children are out of school. In northern Kenya, most of the Class 3 pupils in these areas cannot do Class 2 work. The assessment has established that a Class 2 pupil from Kiambu County has 7 times chances of doing Class 2 work than a child in Garissa County. There is, however, a point of note that Western Province is not performing well, and children in this province are 28% points lower than Central Province and 12% points lower than the national average.
But I think this can be an aspect to be picked up by other researchers as to why Western Province has remained steady, whereas other provinces have improved in terms of learning competences.
One of the unique features of the 2011 assessment is the ability to test the visual ability of the children. A 6-meter string and the letter E were used to measure the visual ability of the pupils. It was established that 3 out of the 100 children seated in the classroom today may be having unidentified low vision or poor eyesight. The learning levels of these children are 27% points lower than that of children without visual difficulty.
And in terms of even presenting our findings on learning competences, we can be able now to isolate those that had visual difficulties and those that did not have any visual difficulties.
The assessment also sought to establish other factors that may be affecting learning at home. One area was the environment in which the children live. Learning levels of children who live in stone houses are double those that live in polythene houses, while children using electricity for lighting have 1.5 chances of learning than children using paraffin. The nature of chores that the children are involved in and the time it takes to do the work also affects learning. Homes where it takes 30 minutes to fetch water have learning levels 12% points higher than where it takes 3 hours to fetch water.
Write well. Your numbers, what is number 1? 4. So that
The teacher-pupil ratio is a matter of concern. While the classrooms may be available, there are no teachers. On average, every Kenyan primary school has a shortage of 4 teachers. The shortage is highest in Western Kenya, with an average of 5 teachers less in every school, and lowest in Central Province, with 2 teachers less in every school. This disparity is worrying, even though 1 out of every 5 teachers is employed by parents. This leaves a teacher in charge of 52 children nationally and in charge of 64 children in Western Province. The findings also indicate that the counties with worst teacher-pupil ratio are also having worst learning levels. But even with the lack of teachers, the few who are there are also not in class. On any single day, 13 out of 100 teachers are missing school, while 13 of 100 learners are absent from school, and this is affecting learning. In some counties such as West Pokot, Turkana and Kwale, half of children are missing school daily.
During the 2011 assessment, we went to a school and we asked several questions. And one of the questions we were asking was the total number of teachers that are in the school. And after getting the total number of teachers, we went on further to ask how many teachers were present on that day of visit. So we were able to tell the number of teachers that had not attended school on that day that we visited. We also went to the classrooms, and in every classroom, we checked whether at that particular time there was a teacher. And even though the data we received on this aspect is not reliable and we are unable to use it, but what we note generally is that during any one lesson, there are several children who are in classrooms without a teacher, and this means they are missing opportunity on learning.
Despite the government's ban on paid extra tuition, the practice still persists in our primary schools. 1 out of 3 Class 1 children are bearing the stress of paid extra tuition. Tuition is most rampant in private primary schools, where more than 6 out of 10 children in Class 1 are subjected to paid extra tuition.
This time we have established that especially in private schools, more than 60% of children in Class 1 are actually subjected to paid extra tuition. And this increases as the levels go up. So we are seeing an increase in children being subjected to extra tuition as a result of stress, maybe to perform better in examinations and so on, which is not an encouraging trend, because it means that our children are being subjected to more and more stress, and actually with less focus on learning, but perhaps with more focus on performing better in examinations.
The assessment also found out that 1 out of 10 children in every class is underage. While the recommended age for primary school entry is 6 years old, nearly 5 out of 100 Class 1 pupils are below 6 years. This situation is mainly evident in primary schools. But this trend changes in the upper classes, where more than half of the children in Class 6 and 7 are above the age limit. This is mainly attributed to repetition of classes, which the government has also banned. The assessment was not only interested in what is happening in the class, but the school environment as well. The findings indicate that some schools are lacking even the basic amenities. More than 10 out of 100 schools have no usable toilet. Nationally, 1 toilet is being used by more than 90 children, as opposed to the Ministry of Education standard of 30 children per toilet. Only less than 1 out of 4 schools have a stocked first aid kit, while only 3 out of 10 have a fire extinguisher. In every class, 16 out of 100 children are seated on the floor due to lack of desks. The assessment also established that the involvement of parents in the children's education had a great bearing on the child's education. It was found that parents who have been to school tend to be more involved in their children's education than those whose parents have never enrolled in school. Nationally, 15% of fathers and 19% of mothers have never been to school. The children of these parents are more than 30 times likely to be out of school than of parents who have been to secondary school. The learning levels of children whose parents have post-secondary education are close to 3 times more than children whose parents have never been to school.
The more learned a father or a mother is, the more likely it is that their children will attend school, and the more likely it is that their children will learn better in Kiswahili, English and mathematics. So what is there to get concerned about are actually the 15% fathers and 19% mothers who have never been to school, and this may call for specialist strategies in terms of reaching them.
On a positive note, however, parents are getting concerned about their children's learning through attending school meetings and discussing with teachers about their children's learning. Parents are participating in improving learning. Half of Kenyan parents report narrating stories to their children, teaching children new words and how to pronounce them, encouraging their children to read, write, and count at home, and this is helping. These findings are expected to encourage citizen action in demanding quality education for children and begin debating on what can be done to improve learning in schools.
It is Kenyans who will take action, and that for any quality of education to be achieved in this country, it is the responsibility of every person. It is the responsibility of the parent, of the teacher, of the head teacher, of even neighbors and community members. So what we say is that with this evidence, every Kenyan is in a position to do something, because education is something that touches on everyone. So with these findings, it would be about communities, about districts, about decision makers, about parents to sit together and look at the evidence that there is, and together decide on the course of action that they would take.
As we say, elimu bora jukumu langu. You can be part of this change. If every citizen takes some action, the change we seek will happen. Our children will learn.